Guys, today is all about how to clean your Vudoo Gunworks 22 or any rimfire type rifle. So here's the first thing you really need to know about cleaning a 22 rimfire. It's a little bit different than cleaning your centerfire, and some would probably argue with that. You know, some people clean their centerfires after 300 to 500 rounds, which is typically what I do. Some guys will wait an entire season to clean a rimfire. Here's what I know is that the speeds are a lot slower, the pressures are lower on the 22 long rifle, and most of the bullets are coated with that lube. And so you put that lube down your barrel so many times and it just starts to gum things up, and so you start mixing that carbon, which doesn't get blown out as much in a 22LR as it does in a centerfire. So you got a lot more carbon buildup. You know this to be true. A 22 is just typically a pretty dirty little round. And so that mixes with that lube from the bullets and things get gummed up faster. So if you're having issues, failure of feeds, extracts, things like that, your bolt's feeling sticky or tight on a 22 long rifle, it's probably time to clean your gun. And so here's the things that you're gonna need as far as gear-wise to get this accomplished today. Right, obviously you need a 22 long rifle gun that has been, cleared and checked, no mag, no ammo, bolts open, so you guys can rest easy there. First product that I recommend using is the Extreme Duty CLP. This is a good product. It's not harsh like a Lemma Shine. You're going to need a cleaning rod that is 22 caliber, appropriately sized, with a jig on the end that is 22 caliber, again appropriately sized. You can also use some nylon bore brushes, again, that are the proper size to fit down this barrel. You're going to need some patches. They recommend 1 inch. I always find that the patch size is just slightly too large and I end up cutting it down, hence the scissors. So I'm going to cut those down. I've got your standard nylon type toothbrush and I've got a set of nylon picks. You may recognize a theme there, and that is nylon, right? You should not be using copper or steel brushes on your 22 long rifle barrel, especially on the crown of the barrel out on the muzzle. You just shouldn't do it. You can cause damage and into your chamber and your bore as well. You can just cause damage that you don't want to cause. I've also got a 3/16 inch wrench here, which is what I'm going to use to take my barreled action out of the stock. I am going to take that out and not discard the beautiful Manners stock. I won't discard it. It's awesome, but I'm going to set it aside and we're going to get going on this cleaning. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to loosen up any material on the breech face with one of these picks. So we're going to find one that we can get up in there with and go ahead and just try to get up into here as good as we can. Take my old man glasses off, and we're just going to work into these areas right in here and try to remove any of that lead buildup or copper or whatever might be on the front of that. Right, so mine wasn't really all that dirty. There was just a little bit of material on there. Now, another thing that you can use is some canned air. I don't have that today, so I'm actually just going to use the CLP to kind of, wash some of that out of there. So I like to clean the breech face first, just to scrape all that junk off there, because what I don't want to do is then start running patches through here and just drag more stuff down the bore, in my barrel. And so I scrape that clean first, and I spray it out with the CLP and wipe it out pretty well first. Again, I'm skipping some points here, guys, because really all you need is the bullet points in order to be able to do this yourself. But for the video's sake, I'm giving you the shortened version. So I'm going to go ahead and do some of these things. You'll see some rapid fire clips here, and then we'll keep going. All right. Now that we've wiped that out and I've removed the bolt, I'm going to go ahead and take my brush and I'm going to spray a little bit of the CLP on the brush just to get it kind of wetted down. And then I'm going to run this inside the action just to, you know, loosen anything up inside of there, remove any of the pieces. This can be pretty quick. You don't need to spend a whole lot of time on this. You just want to make sure that there's nothing just kind of holding on in there that you kind of need to get rid of. We'll clean the bolt after a little bit, but right now just wanted to get that removed. So now I'm going to go ahead and spray this out again. I do want to try to keep all this junk from running down into my trigger. So I kind of set it to where it's going to be draining the opposite direction from the trigger. You don't want that junk getting down in there and possibly causing issues, malfunctions with your trigger. So make sure that that runs the right direction. I'm gonna let that drain just a second, and then I'm gonna get a patch in there and make sure I swab some of that out. Then we'll move on to the next step. Some of you guys, I'm sure, are cringing watching me fart around with this patch when I could just buy the appropriately sized brush to run around in there. I know. I gotta do something to piss people off, otherwise, you know, it just wouldn't be me. I mean, all right guys, now that I've got that all worked out, I am gonna go ahead and remove the material from the crown. Don't use a metal brush, use a nylon brush, okay, so that you don't damage the crown of your barrel. This is, I mean, one of the most, if not the most important part, right? So you don't want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and just spray this down a little bit here with this material. I'm going to let it soak just for a minute, and after it's soaked, we're going to go ahead and just take our pick with a flat surface, and we're just going to kind of rub some of that material off of there as best we can. It comes off pretty easy after you've let it soak with the CLP. Try not to get down into the muzzle when you're doing this. Loosen it up a little bit. You can take your brush, scrub those threads. Get a lot of that off. That's actually already nice and clean there. So next thing we're going to do is go ahead and run our patches down through the barrel to clean out the barrel. And again, this is probably old news to you guys, but you take clean patches, put a little bit of product like a CLP on there, you run it through with your cleaning rod until they're coming out clean. I'm not going to show you all of that. Again, we're going to skip ahead because a lot of this you know. There's just some details about, you know, the Vudoo gun works and 22 long rifles in general that maybe some people don't know. So that's the point of the video today. So usually, guys, what I'll do with my center fires, and typically the Rimfire 2, I'm only breaking this gun down. Let me make this clear to you guys because I know somebody's going to comment. I'm only breaking this gun this far down so that you guys can see all the details of what I am cleaning. I would typically leave this in the stock at this point and use a bore guide to run this cleaning rod down through here. I actually don't have my bore guide. We moved not that long ago. I can't find it. So I'm going to do it a few times through here just for the sake of the video. And I'm also cutting these patches down pretty thin so that I'm really not putting a lot of pressure on this at all. So because I know somebody's going to say something about it. So I just want to make sure that that's clear, that you guys understand. I typically will use a bore guide and do all those things. So I'm being extremely gentle here so that I don't you know, damage anything. Not putting hardly any pressure on this thing as I push it through. And it's really not all that dirty, so the barrel anyway. So I'm just going to do that a few times, and that'll be that. Maybe I did clean it not that long ago and I just can't remember. That would be my brain for you. Old brain. Got in a car accident like a few years ago. Literally died for 10 minutes. And my brain was not damaged per se. A lot of you right now are like, oh, that's it. That's what's wrong with that guy. Yeah, I know. I've heard all of it. But what I do have is short-term memory loss, and so I will forget what I did last week. Can't remember what I had for dinner I had chili last night. Okay, anyway, the point is I don't have I can't remember if I cleaned the barrel or not, but recently, but I only put 3 patches through it, four patches total through it, and it's really clean, so I'm not going to worry anymore about that. We're going to go ahead and get this put back into the stock for you guys and finish this up. I will torque these down after the fact, guys. I'm just securing it right now for the sake of the video. All right, the final piece to this puzzle, guys, is going to be the bolt, and we're going to go ahead and just apply some of the CLP to that. We don't want to get a bunch of junk down inside the mechanism here either, so lightly and wipe it. The outside of the bolt body, we're going to go ahead and scrub lightly with the brush. We want to make sure down here on the ejectors that we scrub that a little bit. That kind of gets gummed up, and you'll be able to see the buildup on there. And so we're going to spray that liberally with the CLP, let it soak for a minute, and then we're going to take our brush to it and our pick. So just want to make sure we get in there and just scrape off any of that residual junk. Again, trying not to let stuff get all down into the bolt, because you just don't want anything to wash down into there. Some of that junk off of there, and then we're going to borrow our brush again, and we're just going to run our brush in there. Great thing about the CLP is it's also a lubricant, so really you should be able to, after you're done with this, just wipe it down and have it be nice and clean and lubricated. Feels nice, looks nice. That's how it's done, guys. Make sure to leave me some comments on what products you like to use, or if you have a different method of cleaning your rim fires versus your center fires and how often you clean it. That's always a fun discussion to be had. The comment sections are always a little bit nuts, and for the most part, as long as you're nice and respectful, I don't squash any of that. So have fun down there. Guys, thanks for watching today. Tune in again soon for another great video from Precision Rifle Network.